What's up, everyone? I'm Axel of AxTruth.com, and this is where I cut through the bullshit. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys having a happy Friday. I had to come in here and speak on this situation. We have another situation that with a black woman, one of these black women with the cops, an Angel Geist situation. I discussed that in length last week on a live stream. All video, sound, and music used during this broadcast falls under fair use. Fair use is allowed for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe on copyright under 17 USC 107. All right, so here we are with another situation where we have a black woman running up on a cop or being disrespectful to a cop, interfering with another arrest. With this one, it's interfering with an arrest. The other one was getting arrested, and she was obstructing justice and obstructing her arrest, and also resisting arrest. Now, everyone is saying that when the video went out here that the cop was a big guy and he hit her, and she was a light-skinned woman, and very small, much smaller than him. Okay. That has nothing to do with any of this. Absolutely nothing. I'm just glad that the officer was black and not white, because as much as she was in the wrong, if this would have been another situation where the officer happened to be white and with the female being black, it would have turned into some kind of race thing. But because now the two individuals are black minorities, you can't bring race into it, which is great. But you see the shine, the not the shine, well, the shine and the mammies are going to still come in and try to find something to say against the police, as if they are above the law. They can do what they want, act out any kind of way with no repercussions. So let's just start off with the viral video here and the news footage.
Outrage over an NYPD officer striking a 19-year-old woman. The video has gone viral. Police say Detective Kendo Kinsey and his partners were spit on while they were trying to arrest 22-year-old Elvin James, wanted for attempted murder. James also allegedly had a loaded ghost gun and illegal drugs in his possession when police approached him. While officers were struggling to get James into custody, police say the entire time several people were interfering, trying to stop them. At one point, you see 19-year-old Tamani Crum run into the chaos. It appears she gets into an altercation with Detective Kinsey, who is then seen knocking her to the ground with a single hit. The NYPD is looking at this video as well as body camera footage. For now, the department believes the detective was justified in his actions.
He was. Was he justified? Very much so. She spit on him. She swung at him. She was all up in the mix of all that. All up in that. Anything could have happened. The officer could have assumed that she had a weapon and pulled out his weapon and shot her. See, it could have went all the way left like that. She could be dead. It could have happened that way. They don't have time to be wondering what's going on. Does this person have a gun on them, or can this woman hurt me? Because while they're doing this shoulda, coulda, human and hein and and wondering and doing all that, that could be the end of that cop's life. See, this is getting out of control here. But she got what?
You got knocked the fuck out.
That's what she did. That's what he did to her. She got it. And there's nothing, you know what? She ran up on this. She ran up in the middle of this while they was arresting her criminal thug boyfriend. And I can, by looking at the way she ran up in here, it kind of looked to me like she's on something anyway. She may have a drug addiction. So there's a lot going on there with her. That she thought she could run up in the middle of that and then spit on the cop. But out comes the parents and I guess some activists. Here's the grandmother speaking, talking about what he did to her daughter. He's a big man leaving people. This is what happened when people being left dead in the street. All these dramatics. But let's just hear this.
Her mother filled with tears, her grandmother questioning where was the training here.
He pushed her, she moved his hand. She did not hit him. He knocked her out. He cold knocked her out. He's no better than the people who's knocking people out in the street and leaving them for dead.
Some community leaders are also questioning Detective Kinsey's actions, saying they want him held accountable for the use of force.
We stand here today calling out the violent actions of this officer, calling for a full investigation of this officer, calling for disciplinary actions to be taken against this officer.
Aisha Sekou, founder of Street Corner Resources, has spent years working to build up the relationship between officers and the community. To her, watching the video was hard, not only because of the detective's actions, but she says it's the message it sends. We asked her, what could the officer have done better?
I would like to see him act out of police policy. There's nothing in the police handbook or guide that says to slap a woman down or punch her down.
Meantime, the union representing detectives has a different take on what played out. In a statement, the president for the Detectives Endowment Association said, criminals in New York have grown accustomed to there being no consequences for their dangerous illegal actions. But when you assault a New York City detective in order to interfere with an arrest of a man armed with a gun, there are repercussions.
And that's the end of it. When you're interfering in an arrest with someone that's being apprehended that has a gun, there are repercussions. I don't care what she was doing. She told me he had a closed fist when he hit her. So she's lucky she didn't catch a bullet because it could have went that way. The New York Police Department has a lot of patience with New Yorkers up there because they have been basically demonized, and New Yorkers have been basically amped up by the left and BLM that they can just do and act out any kind of way they want and then turn around and blame the police. Like I said before, they don't pay enough money. They couldn't pay me enough money. 6 figures is not enough to risk my life and to go out here and deal with these Akatas and these BT 1000s every day that feel like they're above the law and they can just do what they want to do and they do not, and no sense of the word, to respect authority. They don't do that at all. They want to argue, fight, wrestle. I saw, a few months back, you saw a subway officer wrestling with a 16-year-old, and that 16-year-old is getting the best of him. I mean, it's a subway officer. Who wants to do that job? We have to pray for these officers. Yes. And I don't want to get the crap of, all officers are not good. They all, no, they're certainly not. And a lot of these officers don't even know our basic rights as we get our rights taken away. They don't honor our Constitution. They're that dumb. I've seen it. But we do need police officers. We do need law enforcement. We need the rule of law. And it needs to be applied equally to everyone, no matter how much money you have or what sort of group you what group you're in. Like the bagels. The law should be the law. But we have a corrupt criminal justice system that it's the laws that we're seeing now they're applied to certain people and they're not applied to certain people, depending on your political affiliation, depending on what group you're in. But in this situation right here, this young lady got exactly what she deserved. Let's go to some of the comments on the video here. On this video, let's see. One of the it says, "I'm with the officer. Don't Don't put your hands on people. He was defending himself from an assault while making an arrest of an armed man." Absolutely. The community leaders need to stop shaking my head. Tell this woman to keep her hands to herself. She also is protecting someone who is wanted for a serious violent crime. Good job, officers. Don't let these fools think you did anything wrong. Nothing's going to happen to this officer. Good message, policemen. Won't take this bullshit from criminals. Good job, officers. They will not be assaulted. No one has the right to assault an officer. No one has the right to resist arrest. If you do one of those things, terrible things can happen. And if terrible things happen and you end up losing your life behind it, so that's what you signed up for. Rayshard Brooks. Remember that case here in Atlanta? He got there wrestling with the cops, and the cops was wrestling with him, and he took the taser and turned around and pointed the taser, and they shot him and killed him. And everybody's talking about all that. Remember up there in what's the other one name? Jacob Blake, the one that went in his car, pulled out a knife. You know, kind of like what the cop could have assumed Miss Geis. Miss Geis had did here in Georgia when she went to her car to get her phone, just turned her back, and when he could assume that she was going to get a gun and shot her, but he didn't. He just knew she was all talk. But this Jacob Blake that went and got a knife to come at the officers, he got shot 7 times. He lived through it. But, you know, again, these are situations just off the top of my head, but there are plenty, countless situations where you see citizens resisting arrest, fighting with the officers, impeding an arrest, obstructing justice, all kinds of things. And then you want to scream either the race card if the officer is white, but if it's black, it's police brutality or excessive force. It's always something. It's someone else's fault. And these activists, the left and BLM, are setting minorities up for possible death. And it's sad. That's what they're doing. They set them up for possible death by cops because they embolden them to keep this type of behavior up. Instead of saying, you know, comply. You can wait till you get to court to fight your case. You don't fight it on the street. But anyway, put your comments below. Tell me what you think about this young lady. And was it justified? Do you think that was justified, what the officer did after being spat on and hit? Was that justified? Put your comments below. Share, subscribe to my channel. If you like my content, you can support the channel by either clicking on any of the links below or do my Cash App right up here. Cash App at $axtruth.com. Everyone have a blessed day. Love you all.